Hello, and welcome back to another episode of International Immersion, a podcast that seeks to capture the combined experiences of people, places, culture, traveling, current events, living abroad, and much, much more. For today's episode, I wanted to share with everyone a very unique and inspirational speech by Franklin Delano Roosevelt that I recently discovered while doing more research on World War II and the early part of the 20th century, because there are so many similarities to that period 80-odd years ago and what is going on in the world now. There are quite a few similarities, both in a interesting but also horrifying way that could potentially paint the picture that the world may go back into something like that in the not-too-distant future, of which I personally hope that is not the case. But at the same time, in examining this speech, it really gives a positive message for humanity and that we are all interconnected and influenced by the decisions we make. And we have the ability and the intelligence to craft the world in the way we want it to be for the betterment of all. But at the same time, we have to overcome immense challenges, and the worst that humanity can conjure in the case of the events of World War II. So I just wanted to share this speech by FDR. It was his Flag Day address given on June 14th, 1942. So without further ado, I'd like to play this speech and gain an insight just to how he words his speech, the way he delivers it, and the impact it has on the viewer.
The spirit of man has awakened. The soul of man has gone forth. Grant us the wisdom and the vision to comprehend the greatness of man's spirit that suffers and endures so hugely for a goal beyond his own brief span. We are all of us children of earth. Grant us that simple knowledge. If our brothers are oppressed, then we are oppressed. If they hunger, we hunger. If their freedom is taken away, our freedom is not secure. Grant us a common faith that man shall know bread and peace, that he shall know justice and righteousness, freedom and security, an equal opportunity and an equal chance to do his best, not only in our own lands, but throughout the world. And in that faith, let us march toward the clean world our hands can make. Amen.
As with anything, this speech can be interpreted in a whole host of ways. But from my own point of view, I think it has a lot of symbolism and resonance in the world today, even though this was nearly 3/4 of a century ago, going on a century in a couple more decades. I think that it really points to the proven fact that we cannot ignore what goes on in the world, and that we cannot ignore injustices that are done in land across the planet, because sooner or later they're going to have an effect on where you live. American isolationism in the 1930s failed because the U.S. was brought into World War II by the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And I think it's an individual's obligation to be insightful, learn about the world, pay attention, and be up to date to what is going on. Otherwise, you might get a rude awakening for what may happen in the future. And with current events the way they are, especially with the war in Ukraine, tension in the Asia-Pacific, social issues, economic issues, you're seeing a culmination of events that could bring about some pretty negative side effects in the years to decades ahead of us. So I think we have a choice as a species, and that is, do we aspire to work together to try to overcome the challenges we deal with, or can we let a whole host of issues keep us apart and bring us back into conflict, which accomplishes nothing. It only degrades and sets us back in the long term. As FDR mentions, we're all children of Earth. We all are affected by each other, and we have to realize that sooner or later. We cannot let our differences, our own ideas, ethnocentrism, so many other factors that I could go on and go on about. We cannot let those factors keep us apart. So out of this, as I have said in previous episodes, there is so much that we can learn from the past because history repeats itself. It may not be in the same way, the same fashion, or in whatever way. But there are huge patterns and repetitions that happen. And people who do not learn about the past will sooner or later repeat it in either a positive or negative way. And what's going on now is looking like a repetition of what happened in the 1930s, albeit with different circumstances. Technology has advanced, society has advanced. There are so many other factors that you can interconnect to then and now. So it is my fundamental hope that by learning about the past, learning about what's going on, and being an active and conscientious citizen of whatever country you're in, and having that desire to learn, understand, and want to expand your mind, open your mind to new ideas, and incorporate things, have an eclectic mindset, factors like this will make the world a better place, in my personal opinion, and will also allow us to prevent disasters like war and other things happen. Now, humans have had issues for thousands of years. That's not going to go away anytime soon, that is obvious. But we have made tremendous advancements in the time our species has been sentient and, in many cases, an advanced species in terms of its intelligence and capabilities. I think one of the greatest gifts that we have is the ability to live, learn, and develop ourselves. And the idea of learning and continuous learning is a great gift that we should all take full advantage of, especially with the resources we have available to us at our fingertips, whether it's your smartphone, computer, or whatever you have. You have a great window and the opportunity to advance yourself, learn new skills, and to embetter the lives of yourself and all those around you. So in summary, today's episode was inspired by the research I've been doing and the current events which are going on. So I just wanted to share this speech as a positive note to anyone who listens, and to encourage people to explore and be creative, use your sense of curiosity, and take full advantage of everything you have around you to advance and improve yourself. I think that's the best thing we can all strive to do. So that wraps up this episode today. As I previously mentioned, I just thought this was a great speech to share, and you can take a lot out of it in a whole host of ways. With that, this has been another episode of International Immersion. We're working on new content now, especially with many of these factors going on now, both economically, politically, and socially. We're working to create new content to share with you, and as always, we're always interested in your opinion, thoughts, and feel free to let us know what you would like us to cover, or if you would like to be a guest on our podcast. Hit us up at internationalimmersionpodcast@gmail.com or International Immersion on Facebook, Instagram, or our LinkedIn page, all the same name. And as always, take care, stay safe, and we will see you on the next one.